Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. All that stuff just means I'm old and I've been around a long time. So, and all the stuff I must share with you has probably been stolen, or I can tell you the real thing is that it's been tried and true a few times. So we've changed over the years. I can tell you that the other thing that isn't in there is that when I first started my coaching career, just like a lot of you guys, you know, we were two back and we were under and we ran power. And I think we've changed with the times. Sometimes I think kids help you change, but we've changed. And inside zone, outside zone is our bread and butter. Okay, so that's what I'm going to spend this session talking about. I'm going to spend the next time I talk more about the outside zone, the quarterback zone. But we'll share anything we have with you. I'm going to hopefully our technology works. Which you got to be kidding me. That's a problem. So just a minute, fellas. You know, we came in here an hour early, set it up. Coach Miller, you want to try to get me rolling? You ever been a speaker and your technology didn't work? But the guy that's just up here to help me right now, he's our offensive line coach, David Miller. David's going to help me with the presentation. He's also going to help me get it going if I can. Good thing we started a couple minutes early, huh? All right. Okay, so that's my stuff. And it's on that handout. When we get done, if there's anything that you want, okay, just email me and I'll send it to you. I've got the PowerPoint of this thing, and I've also got the whole thing on Huddle. So if you send that to me and you want the Huddle clips, please tell me the school that it's listed under so I can get that to you. All right? This is David Miller, like I said. David's going to talk in a little bit, really. I know there's probably a lot of offensive line guys in here. Really, when you start talking about inside zone and outside zone, you can't run it unless your offensive line is pretty good. David does a great job, and his background, he's been with me for ever since he's been in high school football, but he's got some college experience. He's got some professional experience, so he's excellent. Here's a little bit about us. You've already heard that, so I'm not going to go through that stuff. All right, here's the inside zone, okay? What you'll see when I talk about today, and I've got a lot of clips on this, is that we run the inside and the outside zone, the quarterback zone, out of a lot of different formations. We like to start with two tights, okay? And the reason why we like to start with two tights is that defensive coordinators, and I don't know how many of them are in here, but they don't like two tights. Kind of gets them out of their comfort zone. They're going to have to try to make guys up front be two-gap players, or they're going to try to kick their front, and they're probably going to have somebody responsible for the weak side D-gap who doesn't usually play the run, all right, who has to be accountable for that. So we get all kinds of different looks, okay, but we're going to start out trying to get in that double tight and make it and seeing how guys are going to line up. I'm going to go through the coaching points of the offensive lineman. David's going to handle all of that. I'm going to go through coaching points of the quarterback, the tailback, wide receivers, and I'll show you all of our formations that we do it out of. Okay? So here's a little bit of it, and this is what we do. Okay, you hear me talk a lot about we want to get north and south. Okay? When we run our zone maybe a little bit different, I'll talk about that in a minute. We don't chase the guard. It's kind of like the old midline. We want to get the thing north and south as quick as we can. All right, you can see that we're in a different formation right here. We'll run this thing with 4 wideouts. We'll run it with 1 tight end, 2 tight ends. But the great thing about it is nothing changes for the guys up front. I just want to show you a little bit of it because this is what we do. And you know, I was telling somebody, you know, I tell this to a lot of guys. When you start putting stuff together, whether you're putting together a clinic talk or whether you're putting it together for your coach, for your players to see when you start your camps next year, the great thing is what you look at, are you really coaching what you say you're coaching? All right? We're going to run the zone. And you know, one thing we're going to find out real early in the football game, and my pointer on this hurt. The huddle guy says he's going to get me a new one. But Dave, why don't you point that out? We want to find out who the quarterback players are. Next year, we won't have a guy that can run the quarterback as well as this guy. He's been a 3-year starter. But here's what we want to find out. Who's responsible for the quarterback? How many guys are responsible for the quarterback? Okay? That makes a difference. That makes a difference all night. Okay? So, you can see the guy's going to get it up north and south. Okay? This is something we talk about a lot. We drew that line. Look at all the white jerseys in the play. I think that's really important. Okay? You know, again, when you change from the old power stuff, trap, counter, we run just a little bit of counter, not a lot, but you know you're going horizontal to the line of scrimmage. We all want to get vertical. We want to get downfield. Okay? When we grade tape, and the only thing that we grade is effort, and we sit down with our kids and say you either did it or you didn't. I'm sure David, if he was watching this with our offensive linemen, he'd tell them good job because they're all getting in the picture. Okay, they're getting downfield. You talk about moving the line of scrimmage. If you say, "Hey guys, we got to create a new line of scrimmage," if you don't coach it during the day, you're not gonna get it done. We think we coach that pretty hard. Okay, and that kid didn't make us. He was pretty good too. Made it a little bit easier. Okay, here's a look at it from the end zone. Here's what we'll talk about. You know, we want our guys to take steps. Okay. Something that we do this a little bit different than a lot of other people, and Dave will talk about it. We'll double team if we have to, but we don't really want to. Okay, we want to get everybody covered up. We want to get everybody up front covered up. We don't really coach taking those down guys and knocking them into the next level. If it happens, it happens. But what we really like to do is know who we're working with and get our bodies up to the next level. Get us up to the next level. Okay? I'm going to go to the next one. I got plenty of tape at the end. Okay, here we're simple. All right? Here's something that I really believe. Execution beats scheme. All right? You'll see we don't run a lot of plays. We don't run a whole bunch of plays. I think sometimes we can get overwhelmed and we run too much. Execution beats scheme. We want to get a lot of reps of what we do. All right? And here's something that I tell a lot of guys. I gave a talk a couple of weeks ago. And we talked about practice planning. I think it's really important. If you haven't done this, it's something really that you can do in the off season that will help you out. I think. Take your practice scripts from the week. All right. And look at what you practiced during the week. Look at what you ran on Friday night. Does the time that you're spending reflect what you're running? All right? Are you searching for things on Friday night that you haven't really practiced? All right? Execution beats scheme. We're going to run the inside zone. We're going to run the outside zone. We're going to run the quarterback zone. At nut cutting time, guess what? We're going to run zone. Okay? And our kids believe in that. All right? Okay, running offense, not a bunch of plays. I learned this at a clinic a long time ago. A guy named Steve Axman. Anybody ever heard of him? He's still coaching. This was probably 25 or 30 years ago. I think we all have the tendency, especially now, you know, there's so many smart offensive coaches. I'm sure there's a lot of them in this room. All right? You can draw up a whole bunch of plays, and they're going to work against paper, but do you really get reps on them? Do you really get good at them? All right? If you're only running something 3 or 4 times during the week, and then you expect your kids to execute it on Friday night, I think you're setting yourself up for disaster. Okay? Running offense. You know what? Running offense. If I walked into your meeting room and I asked your coaches and your players, what do you hang your hat on? What's your best football play? If you get a bunch of different answers, I think you got problems. Okay? They need to understand what everything spins off of. What do you believe in? What are you going to practice? Running offense, not a bunch of plays. I think this is extremely important. I tell our kids this all the time. Okay? I tell them, hey, go home and watch the college games this weekend. Watch the bowl games. Watch the professional games. Okay? Run the ball when you want to and you need to. If it's 3rd down and 2, and again, I'm biased, and you don't think that you can run the football to get a first down, then your kids don't think they can either. Okay? They got to believe in it. They got to believe in it. If it's, and I saw this in a pro game. It was one of those tournament, one of the games to get to the Super Bowl. It's first and goal on the 1 yard line. They threw the fake. Guess what? Incomplete, holding, went back. They took a field goal. I forget which game it was, but they're on the 1 yard line, first down, and they don't run the daggone football. Okay. Now those guys are pretty smart, but I think anybody can figure out. You got 4 cracks at it right there. 4 cracks to make 1. All right. You got to run the ball when you want to and you need to. So that's what we do. Championship teams at all levels can run the ball and stop the run. I don't know if you saw the talk this morning, but a lot of those guys are pretty smart, and they get in their league and they break down, what happens on this down and this down across the country. Well, we can't get that in high school football. All right. But I can tell you this. All right. If you're going to win in November in Indiana, I know, probably in Kentucky and Ohio, a lot of guys are afraid. The weather's unpredictable, okay? You better be able to run the ball and stop the run, okay? Run the ball and stop the run. Doesn't mean you're not going to do other stuff. If you can run the football, your passing game is going to get better, all right? But you got to hang your hat on something. Okay, here's our inside zone mentality, okay? It's a downhill play. We want to get the thing downhill. We want to get the ball north and south. How many times do you have that young back who he takes that zone play and he looks at it here and all he wants to do is try to outrun everybody to the sideline? Okay, he runs 28 to make 2. Okay, we want to get the thing north and south. We want it to be a downhill mentality. Here's how we've changed in the zone, and David knows this because he's the one that went. But I said, hey David, we got to figure out how to be more physical. We're too soft. Okay, because when we went to the zone and we were spread, we had a guy that could throw it all over the field. All right, we were in a 2-point stance all the time. We weren't coming off the football. Okay, we were soft. All right, so we figured out we weren't downhill. We were kind of guessing. We were kind of shielding guys off, not knocking people off the football. So we've changed. It's really a philosophy now where we want to get after you. We want to be physical. We want to get them all covered up. Again, I talked about that earlier. If we can get off double teams or not even half the double team, then we'll do it. Okay? We would prefer just to go get you covered up. All right? Then just like most of you do, we're going to tell our tailback, you're going to bang it. All right? You're going to bend it or you're going to bounce it. Okay? And he needs to understand why. This tailback that we had this last couple of years, he was great at bouncing it. He knew why. We had a tailback that was really good before him, a couple of them before them. They were good at bending that thing back, and they knew why. All right? So I think you have to coach that, and we're going to try to tell you how we try to coach that up. Okay? We're multiple formation. Like I said, here's the great thing about it. Okay? I know everybody in America is multiple formation right now. All right? Sometimes you go to clinics and you feel kind of silly when you watch other guys and you see how much they do. I always like to go up and ask them what they really do and how much they try to marry those things together. Okay? They may be in a lot of different formations, but how many different things do those offensive linemen need to know? Because they're really the ones that have to know it. All right? On all of our stuff, our offensive linemen, they don't have to learn anything new. Okay? We can be in different formations, which people have to defend the passing game out of it. They have to defend different backs out of it, but we'll run the same stuff. Okay? Here's the first one. I showed you that. This is our 2 tight, 2 wide receiver, 1 back. One thing that we've done, and maybe you're already doing this, but because of defenses now, defenses like to get upfield and penetrate, and there's a lot of great defensive coaches also. If the ball's on the hash, we like to try to get into some kind of a trip formation. We've got a couple of different ways we're going to get into three receivers through the field. And when we do that, sometimes we want to have one receiver wide into the boundary, or we want to have a tight end tight into the boundary. And we want to see how they're going to defend that. Okay? How they're going to defend the field and how they're going to defend the boundary. Okay? In the middle of the field, we like to go 2 tights if we can, or a balanced formation. Here's one of our ways that we get tight: 1 tight end, 3 back, 3 wide receivers. We know that good defensive coordinators stand on the sideline and they watch our guys come in and out, and they're gonna match their personnel too. I don't have much of that in this talk, but we're no huddle. We try to play fast. So when we call formations, we don't tell the different kids who's going in. You know, they have to see the signal and they got to go in. The kids on the field have to come out because good defensive coordinators are going to match that. So we still want to be able to go fast and get kids on the field. Okay, and I think it's pretty easy. Okay, there's no tights. Sometimes we're getting the no tights where we're spread out, we're balanced, or we can be trip wide. Okay, that's not rocket science. We like to be this. We call this joker. When I show tape, you'll see that we're in this sometimes. Now, really, and again, defensive guys, how are you going to treat this? Is this just a balance? Is this a pro, or is this a trips? Okay, everybody's got a different philosophy with it. But what we'll do when we do that is we try to keep the same personnel in the game and not have to with our two tight personnel and not change anything. Okay. And if I'm blocking you guys' view, I'm sorry because I've been told I can't come outside that tape. All right, so here we go. The offensive line splits. Okay, this goes back, and there's probably some wing T guys in here. We want to use our splits to our advantage. Okay, we want to, and David will. I don't know if he's got time to talk about it in this talk, but we'll definitely probably talk about it when we go outside zone. He starts to talk about the technique. But our offensive linemen need to understand, if you need to tighten them down, know why you're tightening them down. If you're widening them out, widen them out. If you're backing off the ball, back off the ball. All right, but we're going to start at 3 feet. The way that we do 3 feet is that if that's the guy next to me, I just reach my hand out. If I can touch him, I'm too close, I just scoot out a little bit. Okay, and it still works. Okay, it's about 3 feet. It's 3 feet. What we do in practice, we're going to stand behind our guys in practice. All of our offensive guys, when we go inside drill, when we go team, our coaches will stand behind them, and if we see our splits getting too tight, then we'll change it. We'll tell our kids to split them out. Okay? So we want to block the play side gap. We're going to know who we're working with, and David's going to talk about this. We're going to communicate, and our aiming point on inside zone is play side number. Okay? Okay, our offensive line goals: create a new line of scrimmage. Create a new line of scrimmage. Here's what and our kids here say this all the time. Don't stand at the line of scrimmage and belly bump. All you're doing, you're in the way. Okay, if you miss your block, go block somebody else. You don't ever give the old take a step. You think you get beat, and then you stop and you hold, or you stand in the way. All right, get out of the way. If you miss, and you're going to miss sometime because they're pretty good and they're coached too, get down the field and get somebody else blocked. Okay, and I think we do a good job of that. David coaches that up really well. Tailback should see the back of your jersey. Okay, so we tell our linemen this from day one. When we introduce this in the summertime, we put our tailbacks behind there. We put our backs, our offensive line in front of them, and what we want them to see is a flat back. We want them to see the back of your jersey. Let him be a back. If you turn your shoulders, if you do this, you're giving him a one-way go. All right? Tailbacks, we want them to have a two-way go. All right? So don't turn your shoulders. Stay square, create a new line of scrimmage, and work downfield. We say this last one all the time. You gain yards. If you don't gain yards, we can't gain yards. All right? We always start our team stuff on the 10-yard line. Our first 4 plays are 10, 5, 3, and 1 yard line. Starting the red zone. Everybody finishes in the red zone. Okay? Every practice we want to set that mentality that we're going to finish in the red zone. Okay? You don't score, we can't score. All right? When we flip it around and we go down the field, then we move the ball down the field, and we got to keep them moving. But you know, our kids believe in that. You know what the great thing is our other offensive lineman. If there's a young offensive lineman back there and he's not getting downfield, they'll tell him. We don't have to, and that's when you know they're buying in to what you're doing. Okay, so offensive line, understand penetration kills the play. Don't chase. I just went over that. This is from the old wing tee stuff that when we coached against this on offensively, we use it when we identify defenses too. If something leaves, something's coming back. They're going to be gap sound. Defenses are going to be gap sound. So if a guy leaves, if you take a step out of him and he leaves, don't chase him. You got to trust your buddy to pick him up, because probably somebody that was lined up over him is coming in your gap, or somebody over there is coming in the gap. They're going to be gap sound. Okay, they're going to be gap sound. You got to give the defense credit. They're going to be gap sound, and don't chase. Don't chase. Okay, get to the next level. We talked about that. Talked about never turning back. Okay, if I take a step and I miss, don't turn back. You're only going to get in the way. All right. So here's Coach Miller.
All right, guys. Obviously, when we've been talking about, we want to come off the ball, okay? And since all we're running is zone, we don't have to talk about scheme a lot. You know, I don't have to on Monday's draw. You know what the defense is going to run. They know what they're running, but we don't have to spend a lot of time on scheme. So we're working on coming off the ball. We're working on fundamentals, all those things. So as we talk about all season long, we want to be physical. I know that that sounds every offensive line talks about being physical, but we drill that in every day. Be physical, knock guys off the ball. That's what we do. Work as a unit. The best thing when I'm standing in practice behind the line of scrimmage, behind the line, I want to see everybody take the step. Okay, everybody keep their shoulders square. It should look like one big unit working together. Okay, we don't have down blocks. We don't have guys pulling. Everybody should be looking pretty much the same and work as a unit. Communicate. That's the biggest thing, especially early in the year when we're getting that chemistry and guys are in new positions. We got to communicate. We got to know who we're working with, who we're working to, and I don't care if they know. I don't care if the defense knows. I want to make sure we know. So that's the big thing is always communicate, always talk, make your calls, know what everyone's doing. Penetration kills the play. We've already talked about that. Step to the aiming point. So that's really the biggest thing is what we have. Inside zone, like Coach said, it's play side number. Okay? So depending on where the defense is lined up, that I need to get to my aiming point. So it's not going to be the same every single time. If it's a tight 3 technique, it's going to be pretty much pick it up, put it down. Okay? If I'm uncovered, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit, but we're always stepping to our aiming point on inside and outside zone. The outside zone we'll talk about next time, but the play side armpit a little bit wider, but not much. Trust your eyes, don't chase. Okay? I was told when I played offensive line in college, my offensive line coach always said, trust your eyes. You got to trust your eyes. First of all, you got to get your eyes to the right spot. And you got to get them to your aiming point and trust what you see. If something leaves, then just keep working to someone's going to end up showing up, like we already talked about. Don't look back. Don't worry about everything else. Trust your eyes and trust what you see. Take care of the down lineman first, obviously, but we must block second level defenders. Okay? We want to take care of down linemen, but we have to get up to the second level. I know Coach said that a couple times. I'm going to say that a couple times. It's imperative for us to block at the second level. Okay? We don't want to make it easy on linebackers where they get a free shot. We're always climbing up. I know a lot of offensive line coaches work, kind of shuffle up to the second level. The way I teach our guys how to get up to the second level, we sprint. Okay? We sprint up to the second level. Now, once we get up to the second level, we're going to break down quick and wide with our feet, but we want to get up to the second level as fast as we can. And then finish. Again, as an offensive lineman, we can teach guys how to come off the ball. Okay? We can teach guys how to get locked up and drive guys. But one thing I feel that isn't coached enough is the finish. Okay? And we work the finish daily. We'll get to some of our drills that we do probably in the next clinic talk. But we work the finish every single day. And there's 2 finishes that I coach. Okay? I coach the rip and run. So if I'm engaged with the guy, linemen a lot of times and linebackers, they're going to try to rip off you if he's any good. So all we're going to do is what we call rip the ripper. So if he rips, I'm going to rip right there with him. I'm just going to run with him and keep in contact. I'm not looking for a pancake every single play, but we have to stay engaged after 2 or 3 yards when we're driving guys. Okay, we finish. Okay, and then the second one is we press and sprint. So this is a lot of times linebackers and D linemen try to just kind of chuck you and throw you off. We want to press our thumbs up to the sky, get our feet close together, and we sprint. fundamentals daily as a team or as a week on every Monday. But as the offensive line, we work them every day. Again, we're not running a lot of different scheme. We're running zone, so that gives us time to work fundamentals. Obviously, hips low, and these are all things that I'm sure all offensive line coaches talk about. Hips low, drive off the inside of our foot, tight triangle with your upper body, and this is something I've changed over the years. I've played with it. I've always coached the punch here with thumbs up and wrists together. It's kind of changing now. We hold met balls a lot of times. Now we're punching from underneath with our thumbs at our shoulders. Okay, so and I believe that helps with leverage, okay, and we get more of a lift, and it helps with keeping our hips low. So we're punching with our palms up and our thumbs out. And then hand placement, again, our hands aren't always here. Sometimes, depending on what defender, if I'm uncovered and I'm punching here, helping a guy, and then eyes to my gap, so our hands are always moving around. And then shoulder square until finish, okay? We want to keep our shoulders square as we're driving the guy, and then when we finish, we might have to turn our shoulders, just like if we're ripping and running, or if they're getting off the ball or getting off the block. Okay, gap responsibility. This is pretty simple. Really, they know they have, if we're going zone right and I'm the center, I have anything in my gap from my nose to the right guard's nose. So in that gap. Okay, so again, try to keep it pretty simple, and they have to know what gap they're responsible for. Okay, so we're covered or uncovered. Okay, we don't count guys. I know some teams count guys in the inside zone. We don't do that. Covered, we're taking a closed step. So it's either closed or open step. And it's really, we're talking about our hips. If I'm taking a closed step, I'm taking a step here. My hips are closed. Okay, and then I always use the analogy, we're getting a fight in the phone booth. So it's the guy's tied on you. We got to knock that guy off the ball, and it's a physical block. And definitely trying to get movement at the line of scrimmage. Don't turn our shoulders. Uncovered, we're taking an open step. So now, some coaches call it a bucket step. Okay, but I'm gonna open up my hips if I'm uncovered. If I need to help backside, I can help backside without turning my shoulders. But my eyes have to go to the next down line. Okay, I'm looking for anything slanting, any twist, any type of stunt that's coming. But I need to open up my hips. If that guy comes screaming inside, my hips have to be open to take that over. If nothing shows up in my gap, after about 2 or 3 steps, again, I'm sprinting up to the second level. Okay, combos. Put in there, don't force a combo. And Coach talked about combos already. We don't do a lot of double teams. We don't. You know, with our alignment and the way we run zone, we don't get shoulder to shoulder and knock guys off the ball. If we need help, okay, if I'm a left guard and we're going zone right, I got a center, and I got a one technique that's tied on the center, that guy's in my gap. I'm going to ask the center for a little bit of help. Hey, help me out. He's going to punch as he works up to the second level, okay? If you need help, ask for it. Never turn back against movement. I know it's a broken record. We both said that a lot. But we can never turn back, because what happens is that's going to create a big gap for penetration. Okay? Never stay on the double team again. Always climb to the next level. And we cut a little bit. We don't cut on the inside zone. We do cut on the outside zone, only on the backside. And that's, we just got to make a call so we're not, doing a high-low. That now tells me if I'm a left tackle, we're going zone right, and I've got a 5 technique, the tight end's going to come down and cut this guy. Tight end's got to make the call, so now I'm not touching the 5 technique. I know I can get up to the second level fast.
You want to talk about
that? And that's just our calls: play side tackle, play side tight end, make a Tito call. You can read through those, and those can change. And I really let the offensive linemen, they make the calls because they're going to be the ones using the calls.
All right, good job, David. All right, and David will be here, and again, that's a pretty quick overview, but he's going to be here now, and we don't talk the next session, and then the next session we've got some of his drills on our tape that we'll show you. I want to go through the technique that we coach on all of our guys at the other positions, and you probably all already do this, but we messed with this last year. Okay, we put our quarterback's heels at 4.5 yards. All right, he's 4.5 yards. We looked at last summer going a little bit deeper, and we ended up maybe 6 inches deeper. I'm not sure, but here's the only reason we tried to look at it. I wanted him, when he made that ride up in the line of scrimmage, I wanted him to give him a chance to be an athlete. Okay, if he gets too close to the line of scrimmage, then it's going to muddy the read for him. Okay, to be real honest, his senior year, our quarterback was a 1,000-yard rusher for the last 3 years in a row and over a 1,000-yard passer the last 3 years in a row. Everybody accounted for him. He didn't pull the ball a lot, all right, but we wanted him in a position where he could see it. So the one thing I do look for is don't get closer than 4.5 yards, okay? His job is to get our team lined up. Like I said, we play fast, okay? Sometimes we go on the first sound. Sometimes we go on long sound to try to get guys off. That's another thing I think you should do, and I think that's great for your offense. We'll go on go, we'll go on hut, we'll go on 2 huts, we'll go on color, okay? We start doing that in the summertime. Don't get pissed off if you jump off sides because you try to go on 2 when it's a crucial time in the game, if you haven't practiced it a lot, okay? We do it every down. Our scout team does it. We believe in it, all right? Get us lined up. Communicate the snap count to our guys. We communicate it by colors or numbers, okay? Control the tempo of the game and get us out of a bad play. Our quarterback does have the ability to get us out of a bad play. He doesn't believe we're ever in a bad play, I'll tell you that right now. So we got out of it a few times this year. Gets out of it more in practice than he does on game night. All right? That's the quarterback. Okay? Quarterback coaching points. Okay? Catch and reach as deep as you can. This is important, I think, that what happens when you run the side, the inside zone to side. Okay? First of all, the snap's not always going to be perfect. Okay? Our best offensive lineman is usually our best athlete at offensive line is our center. Okay? We graduated a center 2 years ago who ended up being a true starter, true freshman starter at IU. He was really good. We didn't know if we had a guy that we could replace him. So we took a kid that was a D lineman as a junior starter for us, was a really good athlete, put him at center, and by tournament time he was a great player. Okay? But I think that's what you got to make sure you work on that. Know how you're going to snap it, but also work with your quarterback on catching it here sometimes, catching it here sometimes. You know, it's not always going to be perfect, especially when we ask that center, like David said, if we ask that center sometimes to go over and overtake maybe a guy in a 2 technique or a 3 all the way on the other side of the football, you know, it might not be perfect all the time, okay? Catch and reach as deep as you can. So catch it wherever it's at. If we're running zone right, get the ball deep, okay? Get your eyes on your read, okay? What the young guys want to do, and I would say, you know, look at this in the summertime, when you're putting your zone in, or your offense in, don't let him sneak a peek at that back. Okay? Make him find the read. Make him find the read, reach deep and get his eyes on it. Okay? Keep the ball in the tailback's belly as long as you can. The longer it's in the tailback's belly, the better. Most of the time it's going to be a give. When it is a pull, keep it in his belly a long time and pull it. Okay? Steps to the tailback. We don't overcoach this. Okay, we don't overcoach it. Here's what I want him to do. I want him to get his toes turned to his read. And remember, and when we first put it in, we were teaching these steps and that steps. Snap's not always perfect. Okay, just get your toes turned and reach and get your eyes on the read. All right, get it there. All right, and then steps to the tailback. If he can step and slide, then let him step and slide. But make sure. In our scheme, we want to make sure we don't get him too close to the line of scrimmage, that if he does pull the ball, he has to go horizontal too long. Again, we want him to get the ball north and south when he pulls it. I got a couple on here where he doesn't, but you know they're not always going to do it perfect. But that's what we coach. Okay, don't get too close to the line of scrimmage. Give or pull and carry out the fake. Give or pull and carry out the fake. When in doubt, give the ball. Okay. Quarterback emphasis, let him be an athlete, okay? He's got one coach, and that's me, okay? I don't want any other coach saying, hey, why did he pull that? Why did he give that? You know, don't ever talk to the quarterback. I'll talk to the quarterback, okay? Because as soon as you tell him that was a bad read, guess what? He'll never try to be an athlete, all right? You know, sometimes he comes over and I'll say, hey, Josh, what'd you see? You know, I saw this kid do that. You know, I just wanted to make him defend me or something. You know, he's always thinking, all right? I've never told him in 3 years when he was our star, I've never said, hey, you should have given that ball. Okay, he knows. He knows. I don't have to tell him. All right, so be positive with him on that. Okay, know who you're reading based on the formation. You know, well, our terminology this year, we've tried to say, hey, we're going to read the guy on first man outside of 5 technique. We're going to read a guy in a C gap. When we're too tight, we're going to read a guy in a D gap. I just tell him now, read the area outside the last guy on the last scrimmage. Okay, now that's not clinic talk. That's really what we do. Okay, just read the area outside the last guy, because that's where you want them to run the football, right? Okay, because if they're any good and they're a gap exchange defense, all right, or they do a pretty good job of being a gap sound and trying to take your quarterback away, they're going to take that defensive end and have him run that track as soon as your tackle, you know, takes a step to block. They're going to run the track, try to get that quarterback to pull the ball. And now here comes some guy that's not accounted for to tackle the quarterback, okay? If there's nobody, when you give the daggone zone, if there wasn't anybody there to tackle you, maybe next time you should pull it, okay? We'll look at that on tape. You know, maybe that's the time when you can pull it, because pulls should be big plays. Pulls should be big plays, all right? All right, tailback. Okay, he just needs to know which side to line up on. This is important, and this is something. If you're a zone team and you're a gun team, maybe you're already doing it. But sometimes we didn't do it hardly at all this year, because our answer this year is we went to 2 backs. I'm going to talk about that probably at the end of this talk, and if we get there, and a little bit next time. We went to 2 tailbacks in the game and 1 quarterback. But our answer before was put the guy in pistol and then just shift him before the play. Why do you do that? Well, find out, you know, are they going to kick the front to the field if you're balanced? Are they going to kick it to take away your tailback? Are they going to kick it to take away your quarterback? I think that's important for you to know, but more importantly, it's important for your quarterback and your tailback to know. Again, if they're kicking the ball, if they're kicking it to the tail, away from the tailback's probably not going to jump cut it outside, but he is going to get a cutback. If they kick the front to take away your quarterback, that tailback can probably jump cut and get a big play outside on a bounce, right? So they just need to understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. Which way is the defense going? If you want to not let the defense take, if one of those guys is better than the other one, last year, the reason we didn't do it as much last year, because you better defend both backs, our quarterback and our tailback, okay? If I just have one guy that I wanted to carry the ball out, which is the tailback most of the time, then I would do that. I would put him in the middle and shift him, because now that defense has to declare late. Or maybe they don't change at all. Maybe you catch him. Maybe you catch him and you get that bounce, okay? So, you know, he just needs to know where to line up. Sometimes he shifts. We have our quarterback, our tailback, and I think this is important. We weren't very good at this when we first started the zone, and we've been running the zone probably for 10 years now, I guess. But we were easy to scout because our tailback, his alignment wasn't very good based on whether it was inside zone or outside zone. He would change his alignment. We want him to have the same alignment every time. Just change your footwork. We put our toes at the heels of the quarterback. When you watch us on tape, it's going to look like sometimes he's standing right next to him. Guess what? I don't care, okay? It doesn't matter. And the tailbacks are all different, okay? They have to get their alignment to where they can get to where they have to be. If you like to be close and that's how you like to run inside zone, then do it. If you can still pass block from there, if you can still run outside zone from there, then do it, okay? If you need to be a little bit wider, then do it, okay? And our tailback coach, Coach Manowitz, is here, and we just don't overcoach that. Just get lined up, but do it the same way every time. We do want him to be behind the quarterback. We don't go behind the guard. Okay, and this is the other thing. I know a lot. When we started coaching, we said, hey, line up behind the guard. Well, the guard split changes. Okay, line up to where you can get the mesh of the play correctly. Okay, we practice this thing pre-practice. We practice it in the summertime without linemen. Okay, and I got a gym drill I can send you if you want it. If you want the gym drill that we do, just put that on your notes and I'll send it to you, but you got to ask me for it. And we just do it against air. Okay, there's no lineman up there. What we're working on is the mesh between the quarterback and the tailback. Okay, so we just tell them, get lined up on the quarterback, not on the guard. Okay, tailback coaching points. You go when the quarterback catches the ball. Here's why. Okay, it's your job, tailback, to time the play up. It's not his job. He's got to catch the ball. He's got to reach as deep as he can. He's got to find out who's defending the gap, C gap or D gap. He can't look at you. You go when he catches the football. Okay? You get your belly on the football. Don't ever say, the quarterback didn't have it there. Yeah, he did. If the quarterback, maybe he had to do this and the mesh is here. Maybe he gets a perfect one and the mesh is here. Okay? Don't go until he catches the ball. Get your belly on the ball. All right? So that's your job. You set the mesh. Shoulder square. Okay, here's some real good some coaching points I learned a long time ago. when everybody was running the sprint draw, okay, back when we thought that the sprint draw wasn't zone, it really was zone. Back when guys in the Big Ten were running that and everybody's under center and they're coming back and they're giving the ball to the tailback and they're running sprint draw. The coaching point then was, push the ball up into the line of scrimmage, okay, and you can't ever cut the ball, you can't ever bend it back or bounce it until you do get to the line of scrimmage. All right? Press the line of scrimmage. Press the line of scrimmage to tailback until you get to where the heels of the line, the offensive line started. If you take the thing, and maybe I'm the tailback, and maybe I see I've been seeing that linebacker run out. Hey, I'm gonna score. He's gonna run out. I'm gonna cut this thing back. I take the handoff and I cut it back right now. That guy's an athlete too. He'll just you down. Okay? Now, if you push it into the line of scrimmage, that linebacker is going to get over the top. Now you can get that cut back. Okay? If you cut the ball back before you hit the line of scrimmage, you're just saying you're not going to make many yards. Guys are going to get off blocks. Our offensive linemen aren't going to get there to get them covered up, and they're going to come back and make plays. Okay? So, we want you to get it up in the line of scrimmage. Okay? Shoulder square, get a three-way go. Young guys, all the time. When we start putting this in, we'll stand right behind them, either with a phone, an iPad, or we'll tape it. Okay? And when I see those guys take it, even the older kids, they'll take that thing, and here's the line of scrimmage, and their shoulders will be like this. That's a two-way go. I can only bang it or bounce it. Okay? We want you to hit, just like we want to see the offensive lineman's back. We want our tailback to get in there square. So you can take it there. We're going to bang it, bend it, or bounce it. You may not see that, especially if they're moving, until you press the line of scrimmage. Okay? Know who you're cutting off of. Okay? Young kids, try to bounce that thing or cut it back too quickly. Okay? How am I doing on time here? About 15? Okay. Okay, understand how we're blocking the play. Vision helps, but knowing how we're blocking knowing how we're blocking it helps vision. Okay? Now, what's that mean? All right? Have you ever had a back? We don't ever allow this. He says block line. Don't ever say that. Okay? They're working their tail ends off for you. All right? Understand, when you're running the zone, if we're running zone right, and that lineman takes a step, and that guy goes across his face, understand we win if you run it right. Don't try to bounce that thing, and then that kid that ran across his face tackles you, and you turn around and tell him, hey, why don't you guys block somebody? Okay? We want him to do that. Our guy, David will tell you, we'll just run his tail end out of there. Okay? We'll run him out of there. Now, you got to push it, bang it, and now you should get the cut back on it. All right? Make the offensive line right. Make them right by pushing the thing up in the line of scrimmage. Okay? Push it up there and make them right. Vision, if you understand how those guys up there are blocking it, that's going to help your vision. I don't want to digress a whole bunch, but I don't know if you've done I do this at least once a year, and I'm always amazed. Okay? You know, we do all this stuff right now, and kids are, you know, messing with they're really good with messing with technology. Put a marker in their hand, put them on the grease board, and ask them to draw up your best play. You'd be amazed what they can't do. Okay? They don't have a concept. You got to teach that. You know, if you're going to be a great offensive team, then if I'm the tailback, I better understand what those guys are doing. If I'm the offensive lineman, I ought to have some idea what that tailback's doing. Okay? And wide receivers and quarterbacks. If you want to be a great great offensive team, if execution really does beat scheme, then we better understand as a team what we're trying to execute. Okay? Don't run a bunch of plays. Run an offense. Run an offense, and everybody should understand it. Okay? Wide receivers, don't be the weak link. You know, they like to stand out there and be narcissistic and put their hands like this and wear armband stuff. Our guys block. I'll tell you right now, number one, if you can't block, you can't play wide receiver for us. Okay? Block. Take pride in it. I always get out. The best blocking wide receiver I ever had was a kid named Deweese Wilson. Deweese Wilson was a Division I wide receiver. He didn't make it in the league, but man, he was a great player. He was a great worker. The only time he asked us to run it back on Saturday morning and watch the tape was when he got a pancake. Not when he made a fantastic catch, not when he scored a touchdown. He'd say, hey, coach, run that back. And then everybody would look because Deweese got a pancake. All right? And I'll show that to our receivers. I'll tell our receivers that all the time. Okay? Take pride in doing that. You're going to catch touchdowns. You're going to get your name in the paper. Everybody in the stands is going to see it when you score. Take pride in when you make a block downfield that lets somebody else score. Okay? Don't be selfish. All right? So, block downfield. We can crack unblocked safeties. Understand why. They always want to crack because you don't have to be the guy didn't see you. All right? But we want them to block guys that are head up on them. Okay? We can show the now in the bubble. We made a mistake with this a couple years ago, and some kid thought he could do that every play, so kind of took that out from that. But you know, if and I think I got a clip on here. If sometimes you run the now off of it, or you tag RPOs on the inside zone, sometimes you can show it, and that guy will run up, especially against man. Okay, here's a joker inside zone. I showed you the first one. Here's how you can take the ball out of the quarterback's hands, or give him a chance to run it with a blocker. If you got a quarterback that can't run, all right, this is how I think you need to run inside zone. This kid can be here, or he can be here. We did it a lot with the guy right here. All right, all you're doing is blocking the side player. Nothing else changes. Nothing else changes. I wanted to put this up here because I'm going to start showing tape, and it's important that you know why we do that. When we run this block, all right, this is our joker, or sometimes it's another back, all right, he doesn't have to knock anybody down. He doesn't have to be real physical. He just has to get in the way. It's just like if you're an old power coach and you taught the J step for the power, okay, and you always taught those guys when they were blocking power, you wanted their rear end to be a camera and take a picture of the play. It's the same thing on a joker block, okay? Don't let them turn their shoulders. They get beat across their face, they win. They're going to run us down. But if the guy comes and knocks the crap out of you and goes upfield, he's not going to tackle anybody. Okay? Just get in his way. Just make him go that direction. All right? And you'll see sometimes we get that done, sometimes we don't. When I put the clips together, I think we're at clips for inside zone. These are, a lot of these are good, a lot of them are bad. This one, I think I put this one in here. This is our sophomore tailback. Okay, he was he was playing in this game to back up a little bit. Pretty good. You can see these guys got the box stacked. You can see our guys are taking a step like David said. Are we getting the thing north and south? Yes. Well, it doesn't look like much, but that's 5 or 6 yards. Okay? Here it is from the end zone. Watch his steps. Okay, great steps and getting them covered up. So that's what we want to get done. So imagine yourself, the way we coach it, this is a too tight look. In practice, we're standing back here. We're not standing off the sideline. We're going to coach those kids every down, and we're going to watch their steps. Okay, this guy you can see right over here, he was having a little trouble with that kid. His split's not very good, but I bet he gets across that guy's face here. Okay, So take a step there, he got it. Okay, get the thing north and south. Pretty good job. Okay, it's a downhill mentality. And again, that's a, all right, here's another one. Downhill, stick it up in there. Okay, now here's the good thing is that he gets in there right now. He gets in there right now. Let's watch our steps. Come off the football. Get it up in there. Look at the guys finish. Look at the offensive line. You got that pointer there, David? Look at our offensive line. We've moved the line of scrimmage. It's a downhill play. Everyone's finishing. Okay, we'll see it from the end zone. Here we go. Right guard sprint to finish. Okay, watch our right guard here. I think it must be pretty good. I circled it. Okay, there's a good look at their steps. Okay, if we can make the free safety, the unaccounted for guy, if we can make him be the tackler, we got a chance. Okay, he's unaccounted for. I think I got those other guys circled because we got receivers downfield blocking. Again, there they go. Not a great block, but they're in the way. There's a guy getting downfield. Look at them all finish. That's what we want. See how many guys are getting down the field? Okay, if they're standing back here belly bumping, they're just getting in the way. Okay, here's a good look at Joker. Okay, now this is what he should do. I think I put in a couple here where it wasn't real good. But again, I just pulled up our Jokers and put them in there. All we're doing here is blocking to the side. Nothing else changes. Nothing else changes. Okay, now this tailback, he went ahead and he saw the bounce. Okay, because guys over pursued it. Bang it, bend it, bounce it. Get to the end zone shot here. Watch this block here. That's who he's right tackle and right guard pick up a pretty good twist. So again, if something leaves, something's coming back. Maybe it's going to play. There it is. See how I picked that up? Pretty good. Kept his eyes up like David talked about. Okay, I think I put this one in because this isn't a game that we're ahead in. This is our backups running. Okay, this is our sophomores running the play. So, are we getting it coached up to them too? We like to go in sometimes, and when we scout guys, we like to do this. You know, I think that's when you can pick up what are they really teaching if you watch the second team play. You know, see if we're taking steps. Now, obviously, we're not real good up front, but they're taking some steps. Okay, we're getting it north and south. It's a freshman tailback, sticking it up in there, cutting the ball back. Okay, here's a good look at it. Watch his aiming point is the play side foot of the center. I'm not sure if I went over there or not, but we go with the play side foot of the center. We don't chase the guard. See if he sticks it up in there north and south, right there. Gets the cut back. See how we get guys down? That's not good. Okay, now, 5 minutes. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and try to get to some two-back stuff real quick. I got 5 minutes. I'll send you all this stuff. There's a lot of clips in here. Let's look at two-back zone. Okay, two-back zone. Okay, two-back is actually a triple option. Okay, so what happens is it balances up the defense. If you're playing a team with really good linebackers, or you want a short yardage play, it makes them defend all three backs because you can run inside zone to either guy. You can run outside zone to either guy. You can run quarterback zone. So the next time I'm going to talk about outside zone and quarterback zone. All right? So here's, let's just go ahead and look at a little bit of it there. That's what it would look like. So now when we hand off the inside zone off of this, we're just running the triple. Now, you only got to pitch it once. It only has to be on tape one time, and somebody's going to be the pitch player, somebody's going to be the quarterback player. All right, now watch this. Watch the tape. Watch what happens when we do this. Yeah, this is, I think, the state championship game. Okay, but watch the guys on the backside. I'm sorry, the tape's bad. Watch the guys on the backside. Those guys, you don't even have to block them. Okay, this kid liked to bend it back. He'd bang it. Oh, he's bouncing, I'm sorry. He bounced it. I got some more on here. Here's a good look at it. He's going to run the inside zone. Okay, now here's point at these guys, David. Look at all the guys still playing. They got to play the other backs. They got to play outside zone. They got to play triple. Okay, and they got to play pitch. What does that do? Takes away a cutback player. Here's another one. They got the box stacked up. There's a good job. Good look at the inside zone. See that kid taking it north and south. Look at the guys over here. Watch the guys covering the quarterback. Okay? Should get a good play out of this. Get it north and south. Stick it up in there. Good job. Look at the lineman finishing. Okay, so that's what we try to coach. It's not rocket science, but it's pretty effective for us. We love it down by the goal line. Stick it in there north and south. Really good job. Watch our right guard here. Point that one out, David. Look at that block. That is a great job. Look where that kid's lined up. Okay, watch him take that step. Get it. See how he gets that back flat? Tailback sees that. Look what it allows him to do. Cut that daggone thing back. Stick it up in there. It's a big play. That was a big play in the game. That's execution. Again, execution beats scheme. Make him one-on-one tackle you. Okay? Here's a good look at it. Come off the football. It's a misdirection play. Stick it in there north and south. They were pretty good up front. They had like 4 Division I guys over there, pretty good players. And, we didn't change a thing. Good job taking steps. Now we're getting our tails kicked in a few places, but we're getting them locked up, and this kid's taking the thing north and south. Here's a good look at it from here. Watch our steps. Remember what Dave was talking about? All the steps should look the same. If we were looking at that grading on Saturday, we'd say great job. Okay, look at all their steps going the same direction. That's what we coach. A good look at it. Get it in the end zone. Get it in the end zone. Great job right there. Okay, let me show you one more, and then again, guys, here's the little kid sticking up here. Watch the offensive line come off the football here. Go to the next level. Get to the next level. Get down the field. Make 10 yards. You don't make yards, we don't make yards. Even watch the left tackle here get his tail end kicked. He gets a piece of him, but look, his mentality is, now I got to get downfield. Even though he didn't make it, we know that he's trying, right? He's trying. That wouldn't be a great play, but again, he's giving us a great effort. All right, we're probably out of time. Guys, here's what I'll do. If you send me your huddle account, there's a lot more clips on here. I'm going to be around. We have this session off. All right, I'll be around if you want to see something, ask questions. David's going to be around. The next time, outside zone, quarterback zone, and we'll see a lot more of the offensive line drills. Thanks a lot.